Chapter 2, Lesson 4, we're moving on with equations. Now we've gotten to the point where we've got equations with variables on each side. So with every lesson, they've just progressively gotten a little bit more hard. The little cute, cuddly baby equations have now grown up. They're kind of like defiant teenagers, maybe. That's kind of where we're at. So let's look at some like this. Example 1 here. Solve 8 plus 4d equals 5d. 8 plus 4d equals 5d. All right, so the goal in solving equations is to get your variable to one side and your plain number to the other. It does not matter if your letters go to the left or to the right. It does not matter if your plain numbers go to the left or to the right. I'm going to say do whatever is less work for you. Do whatever is easier for you. So if I'm looking at this one right here, the first thing that pops into my head is that my plain number, I only have one of them. So I'm just going to leave it alone. Why move this over here and then have to move something else over here? So if my plain number is already, I've only got one of them, I'm going to leave it where it's at. So then I'm going to take my 4d. So if my plain numbers are isolated on one side, my letters need to be on the other side of the equal sign. So how do I get rid of a plus 4d? I subtract 4d to both sides. So these two cancel out. I'm left with an 8 equals 5d minus 4d is 1d. And just like before, anytime you get a 1 in front of the d, you are done. That is your answer. All right, let's try this second one down here. Solve 6n minus 1 equals 4n minus 5. So 6n minus 1 equals 4n minus 5. Again, plain numbers to one side, letters to the other. Does not matter which one you start with. Really and truly doesn't. So I think traditionally people see the letters on the left. I'm going to say whichever way is going to take your letters to not be negative, because then you won't have to worry about dividing by negative at the end. So if it has the bigger letter on the left, I would take your letters to the left. So I've got a positive 4n. The only way to get it to disappear from this side is to do the opposite. Here's a little magic trick. We want it to disappear from this side, which would then magically make it reappear on that side. So a 4n, since it's positive, we will subtract 4n or put a negative 4n, however you want to say it. That is gone. On the right-hand side, the only thing we've got left is a minus 5. So on the right. On the left, we have 6n minus 4n, which is 2n, and we still have the minus 1 there. All right, so part of it is done, is that we've got letters just on one side. So if we've got our letter on one side, leave it alone, and we've got to get the other stuff, namely this negative 1 right here, or minus 1, to the other side. So working a little math magic, if it is a negative 1, you would have to add 1, or a positive 1 right below it. Whatever you do to one side of an equation, you have to do to the other. So magically disappear, magically reappear. Negative 5 and a positive 1, that is a negative 4. On the left, we have a 2n. So from here, you would just divide by 2. Those cancel. So we've got n is equal to a negative divided by a positive is a negative, negative 2. All right, so again, you can then go back and check this. There's really no reason to have equations missed. If it says that n is negative 2, you can come right back here wherever there was an n and put a negative 2. So you'd have 6 times a negative 2 minus 1. So that would be negative 12 minus 1, or negative 12 plus a negative 1, however you need to say it. Negative 13. Negative 2 and 4 is negative 8 minus 5. That's not negative 3. That's plus a negative 5. So if you need to write plus a negative, I would do it. Negative 8 plus a negative 5 is negative 13. So when both sides match, you know you got the right answer. All right, so underneath the got it, solve each equation, check your answer. I'm not going to check it wrong if you don't check your answer, but I would highly suggest that you do. So pause it, try it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, back with me. Let's try this. 8a equals 5a plus 21. 8a equals 5a plus 21. So again, I have two letters, I have two variables, I only have one plain number. So I'm going to leave that plain number where it is because it's already by itself. Okay, it's not on the other side too, which means I now need to get rid of this. So I would subtract 5a. That would leave me with 3a. Those are gone. Bring down my equal sign. Make sure you're bringing down the equal sign straight from where it was. Equals 21. Divide both sides by 3. A is equal to 7. And again, you can check it. 8 times 7, 56. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 plus 21, 56. That means we know we got the right answer. All right, the second one. 3x minus 7 equals 8x plus 23. So again, letters on both sides. Does not matter which side you take it to. I would personally recommend that you take it to the bigger side so that way you don't have to worry about subtracting 8 from 3 and get a negative. So I would take the 3x away from here. All right, that's gone on that side. Now I've just got negative 7 equals 5x plus 23. I will tell you a big pitfall that people do. For some reason, if they take this 3x and put it over here, they then come back here and say, okay, I got to take this. You can't take them both to the same side. So if you take letters off of the left and make it reappear on the right, then you have to take the plain numbers off of the right and make it reappear on the left. Make sure that you are not taking everything to the same side. If you do that, you'll be left with a 0 over here, and that's not going to help anybody. So if you take letters to the left, it's plain numbers to the right. If you take letters to the right, then take plain numbers to the left. Anyway, so we've got our variables isolated on the right, which means we now need to get rid of this. So how to get rid of a plus 23 would be a minus 23. So those cancel. On the right-hand side, I've got 5x. On the left-hand side, again, don't let this confuse you. This is a negative 7 and a negative 23. My signs are the same. So don't necessarily think about it as subtraction. Think about that as a negative. I've got a negative 7 and a negative 23. That is a negative 30. I can now divide both sides by 5. So on my right side, I just have x, which is what I need, or you can have 1x either way. And I've got a negative divided by a positive, which is a negative 6. So B is a negative 6. Okay. And again, you can check that. That would be negative 18 minus 7, negative 25. Put a negative 6 in right there. It would be negative 48 plus 23, negative 25. I would highly suggest you check every single one. I know it's a little bit more time consuming, but sometimes I think an A would be worth it. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Well, haunted board, haunted board. Come on, baby. Come on, honey. Come on, honey. Let's just stop right there. All right, so whenever we've got this time it's just fractions. And I know fractions scare a bunch of people, but we're just going to have to get over it. It's the exact same process as we had before. So I've got 2/3 x minus 1 equals 9 minus 1/6 x. The x is one side, plain numbers the other side. All right? So if I am going to, they've got adding 1/6 to both sides. Okay, so they've got it off of this side. They want to make that one cancel, which is fine. Now notice what they went ahead and did right here. They have changed this 2/3 into 4/6. So if you change 2/3 into 4/6, because you have to have common denominators in order to add them. 4/6 plus 1/6, 5/6. All right, so now I've got 5/6x minus 1 equals 9. So add 1 to both sides. 5/6x equals 10. They multiplied by the reciprocal, so that way these would cancel. 10 over 1 times 6 over 5, that would cancel, leaving a 1 and a 2. 2 times 6, x would be 12. All right, so go ahead and pause it and try E and F. Okay, back with me. Let's try E. I'm gonna, well, I could probably get it over here. Let's try 1/2 p plus 7 equals 3/4 p plus 9. So let's get rid of, just because I know 3/4 is bigger than 1/2, I'm going to take it to the bigger side. So I'm going to take and subtract 1/2 from there, subtract 1/2 p from there. So I know this side is gone, so I've got a 7 left over here. Now, 3/4 minus 1/2. So I may need to come over here. 3/4, 1/2 would be 2/4. Common denominators, remember. If I subtract those, I get 1/4. So I've got 1/4 p plus 9. All right, so I've got my p all by itself over here. So now I need to get the 9 over here. So it's a positive 9, so I'm going to need to subtract 9 or put a minus 9 right underneath it. That is gone. On the left, I have -2 equals 1/4 p. So now I need to multiply by the reciprocal. 4 over 1. Cancel, cancel. Make that a fraction. Multiply by 4 over 1. Nothing's going to cancel because it would have to cancel diagonally, and there's nothing there. So I've got a 4 times a -2, which is -8. So E, -8. Over here, we've got F. -5/4 C minus 1/2 equals -3/4 plus 5/8 C. So this is all fractions. Yummy. All right, so anyway, I know this one's bigger, so it didn't really matter. Let's just take, I don't know. Let's just take and subtract 5/8 x from over here. So if I take and subtract 5/8 x, sorry, 5/8 c over here. Common denominators. All right, so this is gone. Let's get that out of the way. I know I've got a -3/4 left over here. I know I'm still going to have a minus 1/2, but how much of a c do I have left? So -5/4, that is, if I need eighths, that would be -10/8, and I've got a -5/8. Now again, I'm not going to subtract these two right here because they are the same sign. So when they're the same sign, I need to just go ahead and add them. So that would be -15/8. And I'm not going to worry about changing anything to a mixed number right now because I've still got more fractions to deal with. So, and that is a C. All right, so let's go ahead and add 1/2. Whoops, I do not know why I put that there. Add 1/2. So -15/8 C equals, now again, I need common denominators, so this would be 2/4, and that would be a -3/4. So if I can subtract that, I would have a -1/4. All right, so which one of these, I know I'm going to have to multiply by reciprocal of which one? Well, it's always going to be the one attached to the letter, all right? So I'm going to multiply 8 over -15. 8 over 15, the whole thing is negative, all right? So those cancel, negative, negative, that's a positive 1 in front of the C. So I've got two negatives here. My answer is going to be positive. That will cancel. That's a 1. That's a 2. So my answer, again, our negatives canceled. So it would be 2/15. Okay, so just in case you want to do the next ones. Okay, these next ones down here, we're not going to have time to work all of them out, but I would like to go ahead and have you work them out, and then I'm just going to write the answers up here, at least just that way you can check yourself. So if you would just go ahead and pause it and do 1, 2, and 3. When you come back, I'll have the answers for you. All right, number 1, when you work that out, you will get -3. For the second one, it is a +9. And the third one is a -45. So even though there were fractions in that problem right there, it did come out nice and even, okay? So hopefully you tried those right there. Hopefully you will get those 3 answers. If you don't, bring it to me tomorrow and we can look at your work and make sure that we find your mistakes. But again, very hard to do these if you don't show your work. So be very logical and show it all. Good luck.